I'm John Benyon. I teach in creative writing in the English department at BYU, and this is...
I'm Riley Nelson. I'm a biologist at Brigham Young University.
We're part of Humanities in the Wild, going around the Bear River Bird Refuge and looking at birds and talking about Refuge, which is Terry Tempest Williams' book set in this place and in Salt Lake City. You're from here.
Yeah, my city, Brigham City. I grew up here. I first started coming to the bird refuge at age 3.
And when did you first read Refuge?
I read Refuge in 1995, and at that time my dad was dying of cancer, but I took great comfort in coming out here when I was taking care of my dad during his very last days.
Well, that's pertinent because this book is about the flooding of the Bear River Bird Refuge in 1983 and 84. Well, she had the experience you did, that while her mother was dying of cancer, she came out here regularly and was inspired or comforted or awestruck by the sight of birds out here. Groovy, let's go look at some birds.
Great. So we're getting ready to start on the auto tour route. This route goes for about 12 miles. It's open every day of the year and in most any weather. There's Caspian terns over there.
In Refuge, Terry Tempest Williams talks about how the lake came within 3 miles of Brigham City. What happened in 83 and 84 that the lake was rising so much?
They were very wet years, and so when it started raining on the snow and it warmed up quickly, all of that snow was coming out of the mountains in the form of water, came down and started filling this basin. All of those islands of bulrushes out there, the water would have been at least that deep and maybe deeper. Now when the water comes up, of course there'll be some more shallow areas that develop around the edges, but they won't have the insects and the crustaceans and the little shrimpy things that live there, that it made it so that their food source was gone. So it was a big deal, and how people wondered whether the Bear River Bird Refuge would resurrect, would be brought back, and I'm grateful that happened. White. I thought it was looks like it was a lesser yellow legs.
So what have we seen so far?
Oh, we saw a lot of white-faced ibis, a real lot of black-necked stilts. Oh, what else?
Snowy egrets.
Snowy egrets with a bittern in the middle of them.
We saw some cormorants.
Cormorants, turkey vulture. Earlier I saw a red-tailed hawk.
We've seen killdeer.
Killdeer.
Avocets, and we saw a couple over here.
Yeah, there were some avocets just right over here. They're an odd bird for North America in that their beak curves up. Oh yeah, we've got pelicans here.
Oh yeah, that's not the most obvious one, all these pelicans.
And look, we've even got pelicans that are joining the group, coming from the distance to see what's going on down here.
You should say your poem again.
A magnificent bird is the pelican. Its mouth can hold more than its belly can. It can hold in its beak enough food for a week, and I don't know how the helican.
So through the book, Refuge, there's a poem Terry Tempest Williams reads that talks about the peacefulness you can get from watching animals and birds and so forth. This is called The Peace of Wild Things by Wendell Berry. And she read it to her mother when her mother was dying. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought or of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time I rest in the grace of the world, and am free. She read that to her mother, and then her mother said, who was dying progressively, she said, "Read it again," she said slowly.
There's a bittern, right? It just barely passed it. And we're getting better looks at bitterns.
We were just driving along here, and I know that you write in your journal every day, and you write these short essays, and you do watercolors, and so you're kind of a blending of science and artistic sensibility. And you're a photographer. I mean, this whole program, Humanities in the Wild, is to bring science and artistic endeavor together, but they're not split in your mind.
No. I run too much of my life based on serendipity and the luck of the moment. Just back there when we were looking at the pelicans, that's the best look I will get in my entire life, I predict, of juvenile pelicans feeding and learning how to cooperate in fishing. Now there's poetry in that. So it doesn't go just into humanities per se, or art per se, or whatever I am, a scientist per se, but it goes into the society of we as humans and we as stewards taking care of this land. Many people wouldn't come the 10 miles west of Brigham City, the 15 miles west of Brigham City, to see any of this. So I welcome those folks coming and experiencing things and telling others about the wonder that they saw wherever they saw it.